speaker. Our first speaker has some amazing stories to tell about how she became the largest bun producer in the country. Now, please welcome from Nashville, Tennessee, Cordia Harrington, founder and CEO of the Tennessee Bun Company, and also my new friend. Please welcome Cordia.
Hi, Kristen. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Well, y'all, I am so excited to be here. In fact, I walked around your beautiful city last night, and I saw all the cows. Did any of y'all get involved with the cows? Okay, well, I thought, oh my gosh, this is great. I bet some people drive by and say, where's the beef? But not me. I drive by and say, oh my gosh, we can give them buns. Think of all the hamburger meat in Oklahoma City with all those cows. I got so excited. Well, I'm going to tell you a story, and since we've got a beautifully visible podium here and beautiful flowers, I'm just going to start off right off the bat and tell you how I got the nickname the Bun Lady. I was a part of a group called Leadership Nashville in Nashville, Tennessee. Have y'all ever gone through a leadership program in the state or in the city? Raise your hand if you have. Well, it was a great experience for me. I, along with a bunch of guys, got to learn all about the city. And at the very end, we had to commit, let's see, from 7 in the morning till 9 at night once a month to learn all about our city. And that was crazy. At the end, they gave out awards. And they said, when we go through drive-through now, McDonald's, all we can do is think about those delicious buns. And now we tell that cute little girl in drive-through that they've got great buns. And that they're a friend of the Bun Lady. And then they said, and we love the Bun Lady buns. And then they turned around. So those of you on the other side, that's how I got my nickname. But I'm having a whole lot of fun. And isn't that fun? So if you'll allow me, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my entrepreneurial story. And before I start, how many of you have been affected by the recession? Okay. Oh, my heart beats for you. In fact, I really do mean it, because even in my own family, I've seen people lose their jobs, and I've seen a cousin not be able to send a child to college because of the stock market going down and their whole industry being wiped out. And, are there days that you just get sort of depressed about what's going on? Sort of sad when you look around at some of your favorite businesses that have closed? Well, honestly, how many recessions have we had in the past? Since the Great Depression, we know that's one. Anybody got a guess out there? Oh, boy. Thank you back there. We're not time for that yet. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so the bad news is there's been 17, and the good news is there's been 17 recoveries. So with that, it wasn't until I sat on the Federal Reserve Board, I got an appointment 4 years ago, and that was pretty cool. I get to help vote on what interest rates are in the U.S. I'm really glad they don't know that I don't know how to balance my checkbook. That would probably worry them. Okay. But 4 years ago, when I got appointed to the Fed board, it's when I realized that I started all 3 of my entrepreneurial adventures during a recession. So I'm here to tell you, so what, we're in a recession. It's time for you to step out now and live your dream. So I'd like to tell you my story. First of all, okay, how are we going to do this slide thing? Let me try this. Okay. Can we get to this first slide? Okay, now the next one. Okay, now the next one. I hate these things, but I've got some great pictures to show you. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, this just only shows us the recessions. Let's keep going. My first business was started in Russellville, Arkansas. Anybody know where Russellville, Arkansas is? Oh, and I went to school at the University of Arkansas. Woo pig! Home ec major, a lot of background in business. But interest rates were 17%, and this is back in 1981, and I was pretty rich back then. I had $587 in the bank, lived in my own home. It was one bedroom, 2 baths, about 850 square feet, but it was mine, and I was proud of it. And I was working for a real estate company and decided, I had plenty of money. I'd just go out on my own. So I took all my cash, bought some plywood, stenciled it in a semicircle, and wove some wheat. That was precipitous, wasn't it? Anyway, it had a wheat logo on it, and we started Concept One Realtors. The people in town thought we were crazy. First of all, we were the first women business in the state. We bartered for office space. A doctor needed to rent that building, so I offered to rent his entire building if he'd just give me a small office. Leased my desk for $3 a month and my chair for $1.50 a month, and I was in the real estate business. Well, it grew, and over time, some of my customers taught me a lot. The Feuerhans moved to town, and they bought the local McDonald's. Well, a girl wearing her cousin's hand-me-downs growing up didn't even know you could own a McDonald's. So they told me all about it, and I got so excited because I had 3 sons, and I had become single. Didn't plan that one. The kids were 1, 3, and 5, and I was working a lot of nights and weekends. So it was really important to me to find a business where I could end up spending time with my kids, and the business would still make money. Any of y'all in real estate? You know how it is. If you're not there, you can't make the money. You work nights, you work weekends. So I thought, getting into the restaurant business, that'll give me a lot of free time. I guess I'm the biggest loser on the planet. I did not think about all those 16-year-old employees. But I did interview and did get a chance to buy my first McDonald's in Effingham, Illinois. Y'all know where that is? Okay. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's 3 hours south of Chicago. It's an hour and a half east of St. Louis, but it is on the crossroads of I-55 and I-57 and I-70. So guess what? A lot of people drove by that needed to go to the bathroom. So I bought my first McDonald's and then built 2 more, and I had to figure out how to make that big payment. Now, I had sold everything I had to make the down payment, but it was still an expensive buy. And the town of Effingham only had 10,000 people. So how would I get more people to come eat at my restaurant so I could make that $27,000 a month payment? And, well, guess what? I bought the Greyhound bus franchise, and I put it right on the parking lot. And you know what else? Those bus drivers are pretty cheap. When we offered them free meals, we got all kinds of buses. It was back in the time of those CB radios, and they would tell, hey, if you go to that Effingham McDonald's, they'll give you a free meal. And in the winter, we'd only have about 88 buses a day. But in the summer, we'd have 122 buses a day. And so our sales went crazy. We were so excited. But it was true desperation of me trying to make that payment that created the initiative. And maybe you're feeling desperate right now. So hopefully your true desperation will lead you to a business opportunity. But as you all laughed when I told you I wanted more time with my kids because I was going into the restaurant business, you know that was not more time with my kids. In fact, my feet look a little gnarly. They've got little bunions all over them because I stood on those tile floors and I cooked those French fries, and I would show up the day after prom when nobody else did to open the restaurant. And it was so hard. And my kids would go with me because I'm by myself living in one of those great rent houses. Maybe you've lived in one like I've lived in before. Maybe you have, Mike. But it's the kind when the kids know that mom's in the shower, and it's so fun to flush the commode so all the cold water goes out and all that's left is the hot water, and mom screams bloody murder. It was one of those kind of rent houses that didn't have, both hot and cold when the toilet was flushed. But it was close to the restaurant, and I'd take the kids up there, and they'd put the Happy Meal toys in the Happy Meals while I'd have to handle a crisis. That business, even though I loved the cash flow, and even though I loved the food and I loved the company, I was still looking for a way that I could end up spending more time with my boys. And when I was sitting, again, the men in my co-op, and I say men because at that point I was still the only woman in the state that owned a McDonald's restaurant myself. Now there were some around the country, and they had inherited them when their husbands had died, or So anyway, I was in a club of my own, and when the men, the guys in my co-op, advertising co-op, heard that there was an opening on the bun committee, guess who they thought of? Yeah. So my buns became notorious even before I got these plastic ones given to me. So I opened the restaurant, started serving on the bun committee, and oh my gosh, that was so exciting. I learned that McDonald's wanted to diversify and would give a chance to somebody to become involved in their supply chain. And it only took 4 years, 32 interviews. They kept saying no, and I kept saying, but me, I'm the right person. I would stand in front of the flour mills, and I'd wear a white hat that said Seymour Milling on it and a white uniform, and I'd take my picture and I'd send it to everybody in Oak Brook and say, I want to be your next baker. I got a baseball sign by Hall of Fame Cardinal, read Shane Deans, and I sent it to those decision makers and said, I want to be in the Hall of Fame. I want to be your next supplier. I did everything I could think of. I sent flowers to secretaries. I did everything I could think of because I wanted them to pick me. Because I knew if I had a bakery, then I could have smart, educated people working that complicated equipment and give me a chance to spend more time with my kids. Very motivated. But it was really survival. So anyway, in 1996, I got a chance to build my first bakery. And go back to the back slide, please. And this is the first plant. I'd like for you to see it. It's called the Tennessee Bun Company. And again, I've got this little chart which shows we were again in a recession. Didn't know that. Of course, I opened the bakery, and 3 months later, we find out that in the whole United States, bun sales that had been steady and growing for 20 years took a 33% drop. So it was so scary. I needed a full shift of production to then cover what had gone from a $27,000 a month payment to a $400,000 a month payment. In fact, it was sort of crazy that those bankers, they say money's hard to get. Well, here I was, single mom, no manufacturing experience, and I needed to borrow $15 million to serve buns for McDonald's on a handshake agreement. No contract, thank you very much. So it was amazing to me that those bankers even said yes, but they did, and I had to figure out a way to make this payment. So this is the first bakery. It's the Tennessee Bun Company, and we make, on this line, 1,000 buns a minute. A minute. That's 60,000 buns an hour. And the great thing about it was all the guys around me that had bakeries, they could only do 30,000 an hour. So my boat was bigger than theirs. I loved it. But people flew in from all over to see the plant, and I was very proud. I was proud, but financially we were losing a lot of money every month. We only had 28 hours of production. We only had 28 hours of production, which meant I didn't even have employees that could get 40 hours a week. So we were losing a lot of money every month. And again, out of desperation, I made a lot of phone calls, cold calls, and thankfully was able to secure Pepperidge Farm. We did a nationwide rollout for a little sandwich that is a chicken sandwich with a split top. And then after that, the snacker. Have y'all ever eaten a sandwich at KFC? Okay, if you ever ever eaten a sandwich at KFC, east of the Rockies, I made that. I got up in the morning and I made that for you. So anyway, we made it on this line right here. Okay, then a couple of years later, I found out that in order to do the Pepperidge rollout, we needed a place to package it. So I bought this plant from Mr. Rich. It's become the Nashville Bun Company. And we put in an English muffin line. So if you've ever had an Egg McMuffin, if you've eaten at Perkins Pancakes, or if you've ever bought in the grocery store, you know those little breakfast sandwiches that you can microwave? And, okay, we're lucky girls that get to make that. Bob Evans is one of our customers. Odom's Tennessee Pride. So that was fun. Had to get the product, got mad at the truck drivers because they were always late and they never looked cute. Never had a clean uniform on, so I started a trucking company. But guess what I called it? Bun Lady Transport. You think those truck drivers didn't get a lot of laughs over that? I told them if they didn't quit making fun of me, I was going to get them pink shirts to wear. So, bought a cold storage. Go back. Don't change it when I do my hand. I'll tell you when to turn it, okay? Better yet, I should learn to use this thing. So, bottom line is this kept growing. We put in a hearth line, and then last December put in a biscuit line. And we're still a small company, but today we serve enough buns and biscuits that if you put them side by side, you could go up to the moon and back 4 times for the annual volume that we do in a year. So that's pretty fun. Not bad for a home ec major from Arkansas. Thank you. Our customers today are McDonald's, O'Charlie's. Anybody eating at an O'Charlie's? Okay, had you have those free rolls? Those real soft free rolls they give you when you sit down? They are like sweet, honey, they're so good, and we make them all. Bob Evans, Tennessee Pride, McDonald's. Oh, guess where our McDonald's are, some of them? The Caribbean. Not bad, huh? Well, life has been very, very exciting, and I have been very blessed by the challenges that have happened in my life, created opportunities. So whatever you're struggling with today, just really search your soul and know that that challenge can lead you to a great opportunity. You know, I've been in survival mode all my life. And finally, 2 years ago, I got my last one out of high school, Amy. So sort of, it's exciting. Yeah, and you'll live through it, I promise. You get smarter as the years go on. Yeah, I hope so. But for those of you that raise teenagers, you know what I'm talking about. But I was in my office late one Friday afternoon, and I got a phone call. And they said, we want to bring a special guest to visit your plant. And I said, okay, no problem. I won't be here next week, but go ahead and bring whoever you want. And they were pretty vague, and I was pretty determined. I wasn't going to be there. I was getting ready to go to Puerto Rico to roll out our new market, and I had to be there. I was so excited about it. I thought that was a real good opportunity to me to become a field person again, go down and visit those stores in Puerto Rico and the Caribbean every month, don't you think? So anyway, this phone call came, and I said yes, and they said, no, you have to be there. And I said, I can't. I've got to. And this lady said, I said, come on, tell me who it is that you want to bring. It was back when the races were going on, and I thought it was probably Senator Thompson because we live in Tennessee, and he was, you know, marching around all these different places giving speeches. And the lady just said, I'll call you back. She called back and said, okay, you cannot tell a soul, but President Bush wants to come and visit your plant. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I mean, I had never given money. I had never met the man. Why me? But I can tell you this. It was a thrill. It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican or independent, to have the reigning president come and visit your employees and see your business. It was the thrill of a lifetime. And I've got a 2-minute video about his visit. Is it okay if I share that with y'all? It was really fun. Okay, thank you. Okay, can we go on to the next slide and shoot the video, please? Thank you. It was truly a thrill. He shook hands with every single employee, and best of all, I was in that motorcade when it left, sitting right beside him for 20 minutes as we zoomed down the interstate with not a car in sight. It was awesome. Well, the timing is great. for this Inspire conference. Let's just take a quick snapshot of that recession chart again. Look at all the businesses that started in a recession. Now is the time for you. You need to launch your business. You need to start a new line, and you need to grow. See, that's you at the end there. That's got your name on it. It's your time right now. You know, I mentioned earlier that I sat on the Fed, and I'm going to zip through some charts that show what Dr. Morris said about this being a rich, rich place. As we come out of this recession, it's going to be diversified. I mean, Michigan's not going to come out as fast as Oklahoma. Economically, they're just, thankfully, you all weren't hit as hard. As bad as it is not as bad as it could be. So why do I think the time's now? Well, all of the little curves have started up, and I just want to zip through some of the slides. Let's go to the next one. This is what, I had a Fed meeting 2 weeks ago. The employment picture is stabilizing. The household spending remains constrained. But credit growth is restrained, but financial conditions are supportive. There's money out there. There's lots of cash out there to be lended. And you're going to hear a great speaker later today that's going to talk about it, Sue, that's going to talk about a very exciting program. Real estate investment is still weak, but investment on equipment and software has started to become strong. And inflationary pressures are subdued. So let's just flip through these next charts, and you'll see that things aren't back to normal. This is the labor market, but you can see on the far right that we're trending up, and that it's still below zero, but it's better. The trend is headed that way. The next one is employment rates. And these are all regional to you in Oklahoma. The next is the chart for construction contract rates. Again, we're not back to normal, but you can see the uptick. And then the next one is this, where we want to be, where the red dot is where we are today. We want to be in that upper quadrant that is expanding and growing, and we're headed that direction. So I'm very hopeful, and I'm very excited. So what should you do to be ready? Well, I had the chance to meet Rich Karlgaard, who is the editor of Forbes magazine. And he gave some points, and they're written in your notes, so you don't need to write this down. I just want to cover them briefly. But as you think about your business plan and your growth strategy, a good design. We've raised kids that are used to having instant messages, twittering, all that. So it's got to be a sharp design for people to notice. Your speed to market. I'll tell you a personal story about speed to market. All my life, I've wanted one of those Chanel bags. Those original Coco Chanel bags. I saw a few of them last night. In fact, I think Amy had one. And I liked them because they had a little pocket that you could put tip money in, and you sort of look classy carrying one. So my husband said, I'll buy you one. He started working on getting me one for our anniversary in the fall. There were none to be had anywhere, no store in the U.S. And then he said, okay, I'll get you one for Christmas. Okay. Still couldn't find one. They were completely out of supply. Well, finally, I ended up with this purse, this Ferragamo purse. This is sort of cute. Doesn't have a little pouch, but you know what? It was available. So supply chain is crucial. If you think about it, don't you get frustrated when you can't find something that you're wanting to have real bad? So your key to higher profits are having your product available. A great supply chain example is Walmart. Today, every industry will have less inventory, and that's never going to change. So you've got to figure out how to get it to market appropriately. Cost structure, how you present your cost on your product. The old keystone markup is probably not a good model anymore. But you could look at Google and talk about their ad margin. They've really become a leader. And in our own business, we do open book partnering. If we decide to be in business with you, we're going to show our books. They know what we make, they know what margin they're paying, but they also know what our costs are all the way down from labor. reputation for great service. You know, people still want to do business with people they like. So don't disregard that word of mouth. That'll make a difference. We serve Denny's on the East Coast. There's a guy named George there that I've never met, but we've always talked on the phone, and I've sent him product on time. And he told his friend Mary up at Maple Leaf in Canada that we were good people to do business with. Well, guess what? Now Maple Leaf does all their business with us for their sandwiches out of Canada, and it's sort of cool. Social network, that's obvious. Customer input. How about asking your customers what they want? Wouldn't that be a novel idea? There's a chain of restaurants called 99s up in the East Coast, and they started a time with the chef on Facebook. And you know what? This Easter, for the first time, they're serving lamb because their customers say they want it. Everything's changing. China's a real deal. India's growing. Purpose. No matter what, people are hungry for purpose. How many of you have those Tom's shoes? Those ugly canvas Tom's shoes that I wear. Well, it's because when you get a pair of Tom's shoes, somebody else that needs them gets a pair too. And, you know, you feel pretty good about that. And then passion. Well, I hope you can tell I have passion about being the bun lady, and it served me well. Enthusiasm. You can't have too much enthusiasm about your product. You know, but the bottom line is that no matter what you do, you need to hire and motivate good people. And having a purpose and having a goal that everybody aligns to is the key, and it's the moral foundation for your business. There have been 17 recessions and 17 recoveries, but I believe that this conference is so timely. It is time to imagine and ignite and dream, because I believe our best years are yet to come. And I'm really glad to be here and interact with all of you all today. And before I leave the stage, if somebody has a question, I'd be happy to address the questions. But thank you for allowing me to kick off this conference. Thank you. Anybody get a question? Okay, in the pink, beautiful pink jacket. Did I ever have time with my children? Well, manufacturing was the key. I mean, really, I had weekends for the first time. It was awesome. And I'm very close with my three sons. One's in the business, one is graduated college, and my policy is you've got to work somewhere else before you can work for me, Mom. And he's working for Krispy Kreme for a girlfriend of mine in their management training program. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
There had to have been times when you were terrified.
Hello.
What we can do when we face times when we're terrified.
Well, being terrified was, I don't know if you could sense that it seemed like no matter what I got into, it was the wrong timing. You know, I mean, when I was supposed to open a bakery and I had 60 hours of production, and by the time it opened, 28 hours is all they needed of the buns that we could bake. You know, I was losing, let's see, some months 100,000, some months 200,000, you know, just trying to pay the payroll. And I went through any amount of savings I could get my hands on. I was terrified. I cried myself to sleep. And the same thing was true when I owned the restaurant. I mean, I had no idea my feet would hurt so bad. I had no idea it would be so hard to manage 16-year-olds. Hello, what was I thinking? But and I will tell you that I have a very strong faith. It's gotten stronger every time I have a crisis. I'm not one of these girls that learns when things are going well. I have to have my life fall apart before I remember to pray. But it does help. And I think also I've learned along the way that it really does help to talk about it. It really does help to surround you with people that you can be honest with. And, you know, I've got my game face on today. I've got my favorite dress on. But this is not reality. Reality is how am I going to make payroll? Reality is my feet hurt so bad. You know, and so you need to remember that no matter who you're looking at, that you think, oh, their life's perfect, or, oh, my gosh, they've got it made. I mean, I'm still very much on the journey. I still very much feel just as poor as I did when I wore my cousin hand-me-downs. So, you know, it's just real life. Have some fun. It really helps to laugh. Make fun of your mistakes. believe it or not, it's not so embarrassing when you just sort of lay it out there, and maybe somebody will have an idea on how you can solve your problem. But thank you for your question. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Do I still have McDonald's? Well, I get to serve about 3,500 McDonald's now, but they would not let me keep the McDonald's restaurants that I owned because they considered it a conflict of interest. Other people might feel so. Thank you for the question. Yes, ma'am. 2 questions. I can tell you more than that. Okay, the 2 questions are, have I made my ex-husband jealous? And I'll come to you next. And what made President Bush pick to visit our plant? And, well, I had the kind of ex-husband that never did send child support after the first month. And he has yet to give my kids a present at their birthday or Christmas, and they've never spent the night at his house. And he's got married twice since, and he's now single looking. Don't even ask for his phone number. You don't want him, okay? And when my son got married in December, I had the privilege of helping with a lot of the planning on the bride's behalf. And so we've always invited him to everything. And he showed up, and he brought a girlfriend, and that was cool. And then after it was over, I didn't get a thank you. I mean, I really sort of did it the best I knew how to do it. It was pretty cool. And then about a week later, this has been about 2 months ago, he called me, and he hadn't called me in 20 years. I mean, it's been a long time. And he said, you took all the credit. I said, what? You took all the credit. And he said, I didn't even feel, I said, well, you sat in the front, He said, no, but you just take all the credit for everything. He said, your success I'm responsible for some of your success. I said, well, yeah, I didn't think about it that way. You scared me to death, and I had to figure out how to make it work, So I finally got to tell him what up. But anyway, I had fun that day, just sort of letting it out. And then as far as President Bush, I have no idea. I contacted the White House lady that called me, and I asked how he picked us. And to this day, I just have to call it a God thing, because I had never donated. I had never met him. I'd never invited him. And he was wanting to talk about the budget and small business. And of all the small businesses in my community, there's over 6,500. So for him to his office to reach out and call me, and I just have to be grateful. It was a real wonderful experience. Yes, okay. I'll take one more question, and then I'll hang around in case anybody's got any other questions. I think I said yes, you. Yes, ma'am. Right. That is a great question. She said, I'm a small business owner, and I work so many hours. How can I take the time? How can I find the time to surround myself with people that I can really talk to? I'm with you, girlfriend. I get it. I live that life, and I will tell you that for me, it took making a decision to join YPO, Young Presidents Organization. And then all of a sudden, I was surrounded with people, and I had to commit, if I joined YPO, to be there once a month for 2 hours. And so I had to put it on my calendar. I had to schedule it like an event. Now, YPO isn't the only answer, because I think you could do this and there's going to be a speech about that today. So look at your schedule, because there's a great gal that's going to talk about networking, and it could be meeting girlfriends for coffee, or it could be some people that you take a walk with. Somebody that you can truly be honest with and say, I'm dealing with this, because we all deal with problems. And that's what entrepreneurs are so different, because we're problem solvers. We want the problems to come to us so we can solve it, and we can inspire others, and we can be wildly successful. Thank you all very much. Have a great day.
you so much. Now you see how I was so lucky last night for 2 hours.